Welcome to this special edition of our webinar across two different continents, two different generations, and different industries as well. Today, with me is my co author, the very spiritual, intellectual, and legacy building Mahavia Jade. Welcome, Mahavia. Say hi to the audience before we
Uh,
proceed.
Thank you, Rume, for the nice introduction. Welcome to the people who are participating in this webinar. Thank you so much.
Yes, Mahavia is a renowned entrepreneur. Mahavia currently leads Source Select, and that company has been available for over 2 decades. And for over 2 decades, he has been doing so well to be able to push that company across the globe. So, Mahavia, talk to us about systems and global mindsets thinking frameworks.
Yeah, Rumi, I think each of us as business leaders, we carve out our own journey and our own niche, and mine was a very unique journey. When I started out 25 years ago, I didn't have any vision at that time of being a global player with multiple, partners around the globe. But but my journey has been more about being open to whatever came in front of me and taking advantage of the opportunities that were presented to me. So the first 5 years, I was just learning about the business, learning to figure out what is really this business I'm in. Um, but after 5 years, I got hold of an article in a supply chain strategies magazine, global supply chain strategies magazine, which talked about how much money was going into supply chain logistics and manufacturing, how much money companies were spending on manufacturing and logistics. And then that article opened my eyes, and I said, wow, this is exactly what we are doing. And if I can you know save 10% of the cost that companies are spending on manufacturing logistics, that could translate into hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars, depending on the size of the company that we're going to work with. So that's when my light bulb clicked. And then I quickly put together a data sheet and then, just marketed it. And within a very short period of time, I realized that I had a great opportunity to bring supply chain concepts that were prevalent with larger companies like HPs and IBMs of the world, and make that available to smaller mid-sized companies. So we were one of the first companies to bring those concepts to small and medium-sized companies. So so after that, within the next 3 to 4 years, we were very successful in helping companies scale up their logistics and in scale up their logistics and help them utilize supply chain concepts to grow and scale their businesses. And one of the companies that we worked with, Donald Rumsfeld, was the U.S. Defense Secretary. He was, on board. He was the board member of one of the customers that we worked with, and they did wireless routers, and starting from 500 units a month, we scaled them up to about 10,000 units a month in a span of 18 months. You know,
Wow.
so that was my big first step in really understanding how we could help our customers to grow and scale. And then in 2009, the first big challenge came when the US economy collapsed and we lost 2 out of 4 three customers. You know, But we were able to navigate around that and land a customer called Pebble, who are the first company to introduce smartwatches into the market before Apple and Samsung took over the market. So this company came to us, they had, done their Kickstarter campaign where they had 80,000 backers. I'm talking about back in 2012, and they wanted a company that would do global distribution of smartwatches. And I took that opportunity and turned SourceSelect into a global facility. We started with US, we expanded into Asia, and we fulfilled the 80,000 backer orders from US and from Hong Kong, you know. And that was when, we basically, I learned the ropes about how do we really expand and scale. And from creating, a partner in Hong Kong, they had a second Kickstarter campaign, and now they wanted better experience for their customers. And so we expanded our global presence to 5 different facilities. So we ended up shipping their, fulfilling their back orders for their Kickstarter campaign from 5 different facilities, US, Asia, Europe, Australia, and Canada. So, so the gist of the message is, that, when you're focused on your business, opportunities are going to be, presented to you. Now, as a business leader, are you willing to take the risk, and are you willing to take what it takes to please your customers and make them happy? And that's what we did. So, our story of global thinking came from providing solutions to our customers. So, the customers wanted us to, provide them a global solution, and SourceSelect met the challenge, and we were very successful in helping Pebble grow from a 4-person company to a 200-person company within a span of 2 years. You know, we shipped over 2 million watches to over 180 countries in a span of 2 years. So, so that's, um, that was our big success story. And that's what I would say, that we did to really create a global presence for the company and for our customers.
Mahavir, this is absolutely mind blowing and superb. I can count, there's a wise saying from a wise man that numbers don't lie, especially in business. And when you make mention of 120 countries, I can imagine the scale at which that breakthrough came in. And you said something that as an entrepreneur, you must be willing to take the risk. If you were to give an advice or show some entrepreneurs their superpower about taking risk, what would your communication be?
Yeah, my communication will be a lot of intangibles. You have to believe in what you want to do, and you put your mind to it. So once you believe that you want to accomplish something, you have to put your 100%, 120% into it. And you have to be willing to navigate around the challenges. Business success comes with a lot of compromises, and you have to be willing to take that. You know, and so for young entrepreneurs who are out there, your story and my story is an example of how with sheer willpower and with doing things the right way, taking one day at a time, you can navigate around any challenge and achieve success. So there are always going to be challenges, but the challenges make you better and make you smarter. And that's what happened to me. So my message would be that, hey, be bold. If you have an idea, be bold, and put put your mind into it 120% and work at it, and success will come your way. There are going to be challenges, which we all face challenges in our day-to-day life. It's nothing new. So you have to be willing to do that and navigate. And in the next section or two, we'll talk a little bit about specific challenges that I had to encounter. But that would be my message to young entrepreneurs, saying that, hey, if Mahavir and Rumi can accomplish it, you can do it as well. But we hope you can do it better and in a much smarter way.
If Mahavir and Rume can do it, you can also do it in a much more smarter way.
you know so while we're waiting for Rumi to come back online, sorry for the interruption, he's in Africa having some technical difficulties. And I want to share with you all some of the
And
challenges.
thinking that, oh,
Rumi is back. Rumi, I was just going to talk about some of the things, but you're back online. So maybe you should share with the audience, your experience and your journey of um, digitizing Africa using AI and crypto and and all of that. So the floor is yours. Looks like Rumi is again, having some difficulties. Um, so one of the things that we had to encounter in 2009, when we had turned the corner and we were having a successful, a business, the U.S. economy collapsed. This is something that obviously, as a business leader or a business person, you have no control over an event like that. So we lost two out of our three customers, large customers. We lost them. And so it was a challenging time for us. We had just tripled the size of our facility, and we moved to a bigger facility in order to grow and scale. And this happened. So, and what we had to do was I basically trimmed down all of the expenses that I could. And we had a small savings that we had built up when we were having the profitable years from 2006 to 2009. And that's the time when I kind of we were dependent solely on high tech companies being in the Silicon Valley as our customer base. When the economy crashed, I basically stepped out of my box and basically said, got into some out of the box thinking about, how do I get out of this situation? So that's when I realized, what, we can handle, products from any industry segment, not necessarily high tech. So I started to basically said, I'm going to start reaching out to customers from other industry segments, and that opened the doors for the company to be very successful. So I got a client from my real estate agent who basically had a company that was looking for somebody who could manage their water filtration systems. And so we landed that customer. And we also landed a French cosmetic company that was selling cosmetics to salons and retreat centers in the US. So we slowly expanded with our strategic marketing and expanded our industry segment and offering to multiple. And I said to myself, we don't care, you know, what the customer has, what the products are. To us, it's a black box. When we open the black box, it could be a jewelry, it could be a cosmetic product, it could be a smartwatch. So we were able to turn the company around slowly from 2009 to 2012. And in 2012, we landed Pebble. They were a Canadian company, a 4% company, and they had one of the most successful Kickstarter campaigns. We, worked with them, and then we executed the Kickstarter campaigns to flawless perfection, shipping smartwatches to 180 countries around the world. So, so this is, one real example of how, you know, we faced a challenge that we were not aware of. The US economy collapsed. But instead of, like there is a saying, glass half full, half empty, you can either look at the glass half empty or you can look at it half full. And we basically started to, look at widening our market and then successfully, recovered from that, from that loss in 2009 and became a global, excuse me, supply chain leader. And by 2012, we were a global supply chain company with 5 partners facilities around the world. So we were telling customers, like, you know what, if you have a product, if you work with Source Select, we can move your products globally and have the whole setup done in 1 week's time. And that was our offering, you know. So we helped several customers, international companies, have a US presence and then distribute the products worldwide. Okay. Sounds like Rumi is back. Rumi, you're having some audio issues, So no audio, Rumi. Yeah, so sorry about the interruptions. I wanted Rumi to share. Rumi, you're back.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. So I think I was just telling the audience that I want you to share, your you know your approach to digitizing Africa and using AI and crypto technology, and so you take it away.
All right, Mahavir, thank you very much. I want to say that you have truly been able to touch around different global thinking systems. You've also been able to show us how tenacity can truly elevate one's position, especially as an entrepreneur. You said something. You said you guys were not able to expand into 5 different stations across 5 different continents, and that truly only makes me excited more, especially because of the audience that's listening to this, because they can take this blueprint that you have shared and then they can then replicate it in their own systems. For us, thinking in this type of global system, trying using tech to elevate things here in Africa did not just start overnight. There were some setbacks, there were some high level of transformation that came into it. But this was it for me. Let me take you back. Let me take you guys back a little bit. I started with a dream, right? I started with a dream in Warri Delta State. It was nothing fancy at all. It was just fire. And that fire truly today turned into Vorem. And that Vorem has now become a platform that we are now using to build across Africa, the diaspora. We're building communities that are interested in blockchain, artificial intelligence, and space technology. But a question the audience might want to ask is, how did we move from just a laptop and maybe borrowed Wi-Fi and not having money to be able to use to pay staff at a point in time, to now consulting for government, raising capital, and even launching a space innovation program, because we just launched the Nigerian space program.
Wow,
So for
that's
us, so for
that's
us, it wasn't luck.
yeah.
It was intentional architecture. Technology was my tool. Tenacity, like you said, intangibles was something that made you to be able to also calculate some kind of risks and be able to go for those risks. Mine was those intangibles and high level of tenacity and resilience. Those were the oil. Those was what was oiling my own machine. And transformation, the transformation you see today is the outcome. We truly engineered systems during that period.
Yeah.
We automated a lot of revenue during that period.
Yeah.
We
Well, I
trained
mean,
a,
yeah,
we trained a lot of young minds during that period, and then we challenged status quo. You wanted to share something, my very good friend Mahavia.
yeah. Go ahead. Well, I was just going to comment, that, Rumi, that knowing you, I mean, I've been to Africa. I was there, in Nigeria for a month, and I saw firsthand some of the challenges people go through with the government that they have. And so, what you've done is remarkable because for you, intangibles mean a lot more for people in Africa because you don't have the same infrastructure like we have in the US. So you have a very different set of challenge, and you have to have a very powerful mind and a will to be able to succeed in an environment like that. And so, hats off to you for really having the dream and following through. And I know you're doing a lot of good work, teaching young kids about AI and blockchain and how to get current with the current technologies of AI and blockchain. So, kudos to you because I think your journey is very unique. Considering the circumstances under which you had to build your company.
Yes, thank you very much, Mahavia. This just reminds me of a quote from a very wise man, Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Nelson Mandela said that it always seems impossible until it is done.
Okay.
And that's how we have truly created something global that people never thought it was impossible. We did not wait for permission to innovate or the West to come and help us lead. We decided to lead with our own vision. We decided to serve with purpose. We're, we're creating things like a child and then refining it like a scientist every time. You can imagine naira to dollar rate has gone up by over 300 to 400% hike. It then means, imagine
Mhm.
the exchange rate was maybe 400 naira. It is now $1. That's 4x. You can imagine
Wow.
doing business in such a volatile, unstable environment. You can imagine
Mhm.
having to wake up one morning and the cost of energy goes up or 5x, because there
Yeah.
was about 9 months, 10 months ago, we woke up one morning and the cost of energy, which used to be about 143 naira in the had already gone up to about 900 to 1,100 naira for
Mm.
1 liter or 1 unit of that energy.
Wow.
And tenacity must now become what tenacity, resilience, and vision. The bigger vision that these setbacks are not going to derail you from what you want to truly deliver as a platform for the next generation. So we were bold, we had originality, and we did not ever build anything messy. We tried to learn fast, and that's how we've truly been able to use tech with our tenacity to give this type of transformation. And I want to say thank you so much, Mahavia, for that compliment and comment that you gave.
Yeah.
It means a lot much to us.
Yeah, and also I think now, I think it's time also to bring in, the spiritual side of things. Our whole book, the Inside the Heart of a Global Entrepreneur, is about our spiritual journey in running our businesses, right? You're a son of a pastor. You are very influenced by your father, and and the church you attended. And then I've been on a spiritual path for more than 25 years. So our journey is unique for the audience out there, in the sense that both Rumi and I had relied on you know our our spiritual path, our spiritual journey of having trust and faith that if we put the work, things will happen. You know, now Rumi mentioned about Nelson Mandela's quote, "Something's impossible till it is done." And so that's the approach we took. We had tremendous faith in that, what, if we put our effort into doing something, then things will pan out. So that's how we navigated around the challenges. And the book is all about, how, the our spiritual paths influenced our entrepreneurial journey. It's vice versa. Because I wouldn't have been able to stay in business this long without my spiritual backing and the spiritual path of doing meditation and having a balanced life. So so that's the message I want to leave you guys with. I know Rumi is just again having issues. I'm sorry, but that's the message we want to leave you guys with, is that if you're an entrepreneur out there, whatever is your faith, whatever it is, trust in what you want to accomplish, and put your mind into it, and then you will succeed. you know so hope this webinar. Oh, Rumi is back again. Rumi, I was just talking about trying to conclude the webinar, and maybe you have some thoughts you want to share with the audience before we end the webinar. Go ahead.
All right. Yes. There are some thoughts, especially those that are related to our comeback after every setback that we experienced.
Yeah.
Some of those thoughts that are one foundation of how we that truly made us thrive. The foundation, like Mahavi has made mention of in the beginning. And every time we have had some setback, one of the major things that has come back is being able to have an anchor or a place where we have been able to hold on to, and that's our spiritual roots. So it's the fact that we
Yeah.
decided that no matter what it is, giving up was never going to be part of the.
Yeah.
Giving up on the dream meant to be able to elevate people then to global commerce was not an option. That was another thing that made us to come back despite these setbacks. I want to ask Mahalia, what made you come back despite the number of setbacks?
Sorry, say that again.
I said, what has also made you come back despite a number of setbacks?
Yeah,
Two
I think
things.
like as you mentioned, Rumi, whenever I was in a tough situation, from a business standpoint, I always went deeper into myself, deep inside myself, and the solutions came out for me. So every time I was in a corner, whether the economy collapsed or I lost a big customer or something happened, I always went inside myself. And then, you know it's amazing when you go inside, you have all the answers you need. And sometimes I would be struggling to find a solution to some problem, and then I'm in the shower and suddenly something flashes in front of me, and that turns out to be the solution. So I think, in a nutshell, I think, for me, I think my spiritual path and my, upbringing was largely responsible for the long-term sustenance of navigating around challenges and staying on an even keel, whether something good was happening and something bad was happening. I was at an even keel trying to navigate and do the right thing. And the most important thing that helped me in my journey was I always looked after the customer interest. You know, I always said, if I can make the customer happy, everything will fall in place. So I went out of my way to make my customers happy. So in 2009, we were still a small company. Out of 2,700 nominees, we were chosen as one of the top 100 global supply chain companies in the world. You know, so that happened because our customers, gave feedback, and there was a 10 part questionnaire, 10 parameters that went into choosing, the awardees. And our customers, feedback helped us become nominated as one of the top 100 supply chain partners in 2009. So again, all that happened because of this one simple thought that, okay, you know I believe in what I do. I want to take care of my customers and make them happy no matter what. That's my message. Go ahead. I think you're still having some audio issues.
That have happened to you.
Yeah.
One to the audience would be that as you have listened to these thoughts across different continents, across friends, industries, and across different backgrounds as well. What you must understand is we did not just wake up one morning and we hoped for things to happen. Beyond hoping for things to happen, we took action. Beyond taking action, we leveraged on relationships. Tonight, I want to leave you with this, that you are the system. You are the solution in yourself. You are the standard that you set. You can turn your pain into power. You can turn every setback into system, and you can also turn every idea that you have, just like Mahavir Jain has done it, into impact, just like Elon Musk has done it into impact, just like I have done it with Verve into impact, just like Jeff Bezos has also done it into impact. I want you to continue to ignite the revolution in your own small space, and definitely it will continue to motivate others. Your superpowers will be much more expressed, and you will build global systems, and truly you would be able to lead from your heart as a global entrepreneur. Final words from Mahavir for tonight.
Well, thank you, Rumi. And I think, this is our first webinar. So we will be doing more webinars down the line, but, please share your comments. And we apologize for our technical difficulties we had. We're going to try to correct that in our next, webinar. But, we are available, via email. You can send us an email to us, and Rumi, you can put a link there with our emails, I guess. And so that way, if you want to reach us for, with any questions, we'll be happy to, receive emails and, get back to you with any answers. But thank you for being part of our webinar, and we hope, you took something away from, this webinar, and we hope to see you again. Thank you all, and take care, and God bless you.
All right. Thank you for being here. Until next time. It was nice having you, my very good friend Mahavir. Cheers. And take care.
Thank you so
Guys,
much.
don't forget that this book is already selling on Amazon. It has over 4.6 to 4.7 rating. And I would like for you, see, American people buy this book past African people. It's not possible, because we want to be able to level up so that we can build the same type of system, 500 fortune companies that they build in America. This book has the blueprint, it has the secrets, it has the source, those secret source that we can use to build that type of 500 fortune company. So head down to Amazon immediately and get a copy now. Please don't forget to leave a review. Like Mahavir has said, I'm looking forward to hearing from you when you are done reading it. Take care.
Yes, we appreciate if you pick up a copy of our book, Inside the Heart of a Global Entrepreneur, which is available on Amazon worldwide. And hope you enjoy reading the book, and please put in your review. Thank you so much.